Last one. Hayden Head, which doesn't have a office page. But here we go. Animaland. Okay, option class Euclid. I saw it's gonna be a long one. I was hoping it would be a short one, but I also assumed I'm gonna be here till 2 in the morning. So it's 1:22 right now. Let's go. Object class Euclid. Decorative procedures: the 2 major roads leading to and from SB2479 are to be permanently roadblocked by Foundation personnel. No non-Foundation vehicles from Sherwood, Oregon that attempt to travel along these roads are to be withheld from approaching SB2479. Any non-Foundation vehicle passing the roadblock will be regarded as trespassers. All public knowledge of SB2479 prior to Foundation acquisition is to be eradicated by Foundation media outlets and relevant censorship protocols. Footnote. I can put my headphones back on. Let me listen to some music. Sorry about that. One more time. This is called Animaland. Protocols. See addendum B for an example of censored advertisement. The area around SB2479 is to be kept in a perpetual state of lockdown under the guise of a demolition organization preparing for the demolition of a miscellaneous abandoned theme park. Small containment cells are to be constructed alongside -1 through -16 to facilitate the containment of -A instances. Site 2479 is to be established a few kilometers from SB2479's active zone and used for research and surveillance. The area around SCP-2479 is to be monitored at all times by Foundation personnel. Any unauthorized personnel found in the vicinity of SCP-2479 or Site-2479 are to be captured and detained as quickly as possible, so as to prevent a possible reclassified information breach. -A instances are to be similarly monitored and prevented from leaving SCP-2479's active zone under any circumstance. As of testing, no personnel should enter SB2479's active zone at any time without permission from Site Director. Okay, description. SB2479 is a defunct amusement park consisting of an area of roughly 128 acres, 52 HA, I'm not sure what that means, HA. Located several miles east of Sherwood, Oregon. 2 major roads which lead to and from the parking lot of SB2479 serve as the only means of direct entry or exit, and a series of ridged concrete walls along the width and breadth of SB2479's active zone restrict access unless physically scaled. SB2479 is covered in thick shrubbery and vegetation as a result of long-term abandonment. At the time of Foundation procurement, SB2479 was marked on public maps and road signs as Animaland Amusement Park. The original park was commissioned to be built by, but was abandoned shortly after its initial opening for currently unknown reasons. Gotta check something real quick. I knew it. Okay. As of recovery on the 11th, SB2479 possesses 16 generic amusement park attractions, 4 roller coasters, each styled after a unique farm animal, -1 through 4, 2 bumper cars, tracks with cars resembling dogs and cats, -5 and 6, respectively, 2 carousels with horse statues, -7 and 8, an octopus ride, -9, 2 drop towers styled after various species of birds, -10 and 11, a chair swing ride modeled after a starfish, -12, a Ferris wheel marked with fox pattern, -13, 2 fun slides styled after caterpillars and butterflies, -14 and 15 respectively, a house of horrors styled after arachnids of various species, -16. This is a long-ass description. SB2479's only entrance is a large gateway located in the northern end of the parking lot. I don't like that picture, by the way. That picture is giving me the creeps. The gate is accompanied by a small ticket booth, a large storage shed, and a series of green ropes designated a space for visitors for queue. Upon entry, a large sign overhead reads Animaland, and several statues of cartoon humanoid animals line line of walkway that leads through SCP-2479's active zone. Animaland has a footnote that says several written instances of this title outside of SCP-2479 itself read differently for unknown reasons. And -A instance is always present in the ticket booth. -A is the collective designation for between 20 and 30 entities that appear as humanoid animals, styled appropriately for their position in the park, hereby referred to as the territory. Park has a footnote. For example, in a -A instance present outside -4 may appear as a duck. Gotcha. Each instance speaks standard English in a comical, high-pitched voice similar to those used by performers to entertain children. So like, hiya kids! -A instances are completely unresponsive to questions or interrogative actions from personnel and instead issue simplistic lines encouraging them to get one of the park rides. -A have been observed to communicate vocally with one another. Instances do not interact with animals and are additionally labeled -A through 16 to -A-1 through -A-16 to denote their territory, which can be shared by multiple instances of the same designation. Testing of recovered samples from -A instances has shown that they are covered in a downy growth of thick hair similar to organisms suffering from hypertrichosis. This thick hair will, in most cases, form the shape of a plushy mascot outfit on the skin and harden into a permanent epidermal growths around the mouth, ears, and eyes. -A vary greatly in the amount of hair they've developed, and many suffer from unique physical abnormalities depending on the subject animal of the appearance. See Addendum A. And here we have an -A11 instance containment. Let's give a close look, shall we? Yeah, gay. I'm good. Thank you. -A instances have been observed to sexually reduce. Great. Don't note between designations. See incident log 2. All -A have a capacity to be hostile, but have only been observed to become aggressive if an individual is acting hostile towards them. An individual is perceived as obtrusive, disruptive, or irritating. Footnote: actions that are considered irritating include shouting, standing in front of an instance, or persistently asking questions. Okay. So two of those things, a foundation researcher will definitely do. The shouting is weird. Because, like, aren't you shouting at the amusement park anyway? Out of, like, joy? Like, what if someone goes like, oh, yeah! And then does that guy just, does one of these things just, like, just clock you across the face? An individual was observed entering SCP-2479 in any way besides that of direct entry through the main gateway. So if you climb through it, okay. Oh shit, somebody like sneaks in. Uh-oh. -A have been observed to attack in a primitive scratching and biting. No. Don't do that. -B is a collective designation of between 500... What more is... 500 and 700 animal masks located in a series of large crates in the storage shed at SCP-2479's main gateway. Are they gonna make me wear the mask? Put the lotion on the skin. Each mask... I don't know why that quote came into my mind. That doesn't even make sense. Smoking would have made more sense. Or somebody stop me. Each mask bears a resemblance towards a unique animal as also seen elsewhere in the park. Which I keep forgetting the one movie where they had animal mask and was trying to like attack a mansion with traps, and then they were unlucky because the final survivor girl was actually like a military vet, and she like kicked their ass. I need to watch that movie again. It was actually a good movie. Either as a ride or as a mascot. When attempting to enter SCP-2479 through the main gate, the -A instance currently in the ticket booth will prompt a visitor to approach the ticket booth and collect a mask before entering SCP-2479's active zone. -B's anomalous properties occur every period of roughly 2 hours when worn by a subject, and when that subject is within SCP-2479's active zone. So what happens in those 2 hours, eh? What happens? Tell me. Well, within a few minutes, subject will experience extreme abdominal pain, intensified rate of perspiration, and abnormally dilated pupils. After wearing -B for more than 10 minutes, The symptoms will persist regardless of the presence of -B, and after 15 minutes, the symptoms will persist outside of SB2479's active zone. Does not sound good. Not a good time. Further symptoms will become apparent toward the end of the first hour. These include hyperhidrosis, uncontrollable shivering, and most importantly, I cannot believe the song that's on right now. Because the only reason I know about the song is because of the Bugs Bunny episode where he takes Elmer Fudd to like a musical. And then and all that stuff. So something about the fact that we have a song that reminds me of a bunny right now is very fitting. Further symptoms will become apparent towards the end of the first hour. These include hyperhidrosis, uncontrollable shivering, and most importantly, acute hypertrichosis, resulting in an alarming rapid outgrowth of bodily and facial hair. All symptoms will be more painful and of longer duration if the -B instance is not removed. Bodily and facial hair will harden into thick keratin rings around orifices, and abnormal keratin structures will begin to form during the secondary hour. At this point, if still present, -B instance will either be forcefully moved to the development of obtrusive facial structures or fuse into the skin. Subjects will eventually begin to develop features which coincide with the animal depicted on the -B instance which they were afflicted by. Mental deterioration begins after roughly 1 hour and 15 minutes, after which point the subject hereby and -A instance will attempt to move towards the right that depicts the animal that they represent and acknowledge it as their territory. Become one with the bug. All memories from the instant's past life will either be erased or ignored, and the instance will cease answering questions and respond to conversational stimuli. Damn. You become part of the park sensation. Subjects recovered before 15 minutes after -B exposure will suffer permanent scarring if removal surgery is performed to clear them of hair growths. Okay, gotcha. Here we go. The reason why this is extra long. Then A. The following is an exemplar selection of -A instances in the observed physical deformities. Okay, so we have -A2, cattle. B. Towers, 2 large malformed keratin growths on the crown of the head, large blackened ingrown toenails and fingernails, and hardened skin on soles of feet, presumed to represent hooves and horns respectively. Then we have -A5, domestic cat. F. Catus, long growths of torn hair extended from the rear, rooted directly above the anus. Long and sharp teeth that have grown improperly in the mouth, cysts forming within the gums. -A7, horse. EF capillus, malformed keratin growths and nail overgrowth on extremities similar to -A instances. Teeth enlarged and grown in various directions. Nostrils lined with thick keratin growths and expanded to almost 4/3 normal size. Ow. A11, Guira cuckoo. Okay. G. Guira, large dented formation of keratin growing directly above upper lip, resembling a beak, downy feathers growing on arms. -A16, Mexican red-kneed tarantula. Very specific. 6 large malformed limbs of rough reddened keratin extending from the 14th, my brain just shot itself. 14th vertebrae of the spine, 6 miscellaneous keratin growths in the center of the head, canine teeth overgrown so as they puncture the gums when the mouth is fully closed, malformed keratin growths within the abdominal region found to be full of dildo expunged. And then we have addendum B. The following is an excerpt from a poster recovered from an advertisement billboard in Sherwood, Oregon. A world of fauna-tastic fun at Animaland, Oregon. Oh, I miss fauna. But we have Nimmy Nightmare now, so I guess that's one over. Even though fauna is somewhere out there in the world, at least Nimmy Nightmare can give me the same itch. Scratch the same itch. Suitable for kids of all ages and adults too. I hope she's fine. I hope the person who's behind Nimmy Nightmare and Fauna is doing okay, because I saw that she lost her kitty. Yeah. Whew. I've been there. Suitable for all kids and adults too. Open from 7 a.m. and 6 until 6 p.m. Monday to Saturday. Complimentary animal mask on arrival. Oh shit! How many of those people are kids? Tell me, how many of those people are kids? How many kids have you affected with your sickness? Edit as of 11th to 2nd. In following incident 1-A, incidents have been observed to interact in a manner consistent with their position on the Charles Elton food chain model. This model follows a linear order in which each organism is sustained through consumption of the animal before it. Wait a minute, do they actually eat each other? Therefore, -A instances can be appropriately split into primary, secondary, tertiary, and apex consumer subcategories. As an example, -A13 instances considered fox-like, resembling members of the species V. vulpes, will periodically retire from wandering -13 territory, reportedly doing so bi-weekly or when one is beginning to show symptoms of malnutrition. At the time of recovery, malnutrition was common among -A instances, is most likely due to a previously observed persistent unwillingness to leave the territory when no food is present. I'm sorry, my brain just had like a huge jump. When I read Vulpes, the fucking Mr. GG Pokemon video came to my mind of that one woman who was saying like, oh, Vulpix is connected to Vulcan. And Vulcan is a god of fire and blacksmithing, so he's in hell, which means Vulpix is a satanic Pokemon. And I was like, what are those leaps of fucking logic, woman? Vulpix is definitely based on the Latin name of Vulpes, which is fox. Like, there's other behind this, like, more inspiration of why it's called Vulpix. But like, it's crazy to see how she tried to like be like, yeah, Vulpix is a satanic Pokemon. I'm like, no. No. Like, I'm not sure who you're trying to fool, but it's getting out of hand. Following this, -A13 instances have been observed to seek instances of -A4 or -A11 resembling ducks and birds, respectively, and they do sponge. Okay, they do eat them. They absolutely eat them. -A13 instances have been observed to hunt alone or in pairs, whereas other tertiary consumers such as -A5, considered representative of members of the species C. lupus, will not embark from the territory in groups of fewer than 3. And here we have an incident log 1. On between 4 and 7 A5 C. lupus instances spontaneously fled the immediate vicinity of -5, an entirely unanticipated event of an alarming speed and scale. All instances traveled at high speed towards -6 and attacked all but 2 of the 9 -A6 instances wandering its locale. This behavior had not been observed before, even in the experiments involving instance-to-instance interaction. So, resembling dogs and cats. So, the dogs attack the cats out of nowhere at high speeds. After about 7 minutes of scrimmage and during the process of arranging MTF intervention, all -A5 instances retrieved the nearest dead or incapacitated instance of -A6 and returned to their territory at a much slower speed than which they had left. Over the next 6 hours, each -A5 instance gradually consumed the instance it had appropriated. Huh? Like, I understand that like dogs and cats don't like each other, and I have witnessed my dog chasing cats multiple times, but and at the end, maybe some dogs do. You know, some dogs might attack a cat for like consume its flesh, but like, what? Due to the unexpected nature of the event, no data was recorded on the speed of travel or method of the attack exhibited by -A5 instances. Further experimentation in controlled environment is recommended. Is that even? Can you even like find out? Like, is it possible to do another? Okay. This recent development of a closed ecosystem in SCP-249's active zone had become the primary object of research inside 2479. It's been hypothesized that a breeding program involving exposure of subjects to several instances of -B can be implemented to introduce an apex consumer into SCP-2479's ecosystem as a means of controlling interaction between -A instances. Don't. It's already tough enough in regular life to interact two animals that are not normally, you know what I mean? Like, if you bring an animal to another country to be like, oh, maybe if we can fix the ecosystem, that shit always backfires. Now you have an anomalous, weird ecosystem with humanoid animals. Don't try to like combine things or like add new animals to the mix to be like, oh, now we have the super animal that will keep everybody in check. No, you're just going to create some monstrosity that you cannot control anymore, and then it just will create more and more of them, and then you have to deal with that instead. That's how it always goes. That's how it always goes. Recent development of closed ecosystems not active. Yeah, I already read that. Experiments involving the cross-exposure of a single subject to multiple instances of -B are documented below. Testing log A. Please be sure. Preliminary cross-exposure testing. Test A date D7220. Subject was exposed to the effects of -B8 EF Britsrvaski, whatever that means. Results: normal symptoms of B8 affliction observed over a period of 2 hours. Full transformation complete after 2 hours and 9 minutes. Subject now and -A instance -A8 instance was allowed to reside at -8, which was horse. Okay. Test B date. Subject -A8, formerly D7228, 220. Specimen was exposed to the effects of -B8, the -B instance associated with its appearance. Normal symptoms of -B8 affliction observed over a period of 2 hours. Symptoms occurred at a standard severity, but alongside already present physical abnormalities, roughly doubling the size and or length of the symptoms' physical characteristics. The super horse. This most cases resulted in minor skin aberrations and additional malformation in the mouth, nostrils, and appendages. The skin around these areas was observed to stretch to the point of splitting in extreme cases, and the subject exhibited normal pain symptoms as expected. Injuries were treated by medical personnel, and the -A8 instance was contained. Are you going to do it again? Test date. Test C date. Yeah, that's what I want to say. Subject A8, or formerly D7220. Specimen was exposed to the effects of B6. Okay, now adding a different one. Normal symptoms of the B6 affiliation observed over a period of 2 hours. Uncomfortable preliminary symptoms were observed to be substantially more painful than the previous observation. Teeth became further enlarged and developed. Oh my god. You know what this reminds me of? And I wonder if this is inspired by it. The Pinocchio scene, where Pinocchio goes to the amusement park and becomes transforms into a donkey. Is like, I wonder if that's based, if this is inspired by that. Because I remember as a kid, I was fucking traumatized seeing those kids becoming donkeys. And also, by the way, how the fuck did that even happen in that world? Like, what? It was already crazy enough that we have like Pinocchio being like a talking puppet, and then there's a cricket that can talk and all that stuff. But then we also had like a fox and a cat showing up who can talk. Like if I was Geppetto, I'd be like, hey, by the way, don't go out there because there are anthropomorphic animals that will try to trick you. I'd be like, oh, that would have been good to know. Not only that, but then like, yeah, like transforming the kids into donkeys. Like, how? How did he do that? Also, what happened to those kids? Like, yeah, Pinocchio escaped and ended up in Monster's mouth, and then escaped that shit, and then went back and became a real boy. And Geppetto and him like, oh yeah, we're so happy. In the meantime, there's still like 20 kids who were captured by that motherfucker, transformed into donkeys, still out there, like, suffering. Okay, sorry. They became more further enlarged. Sharp tips with minor dental fractures starting to be observed towards the end of the exposure. Bodily hair roughly doubled in length, and hair roots formed and began to grow roughly an inch above the anus. Aberration observed as an experiment above. Injuries were treated by medical personnel, and the subject hereby designated -A8/6 was contained for study. Multi-numerical designation have been implemented so as not to assume cross-exposed instance territory. I'm sorry, but where the fuck is ethics committee? I feel like this is a bit too brutal. For the ethics committee to not, like, at least have a look at it and be like, hey, I understand what you're trying to. I understand your curiosity, but this seems a bit extreme to do this. -B seems to afflict whomever it is worn by, irrespectively of any previous exposure. The symptoms it induces simply overlap with previous physical properties. Bodily hair will double in length, teeth will double in size and width, etc., etc. Considering that the resulting wounds can be safely treated, cross-exposure with -B instances in the interest of creating an -A instance that fits the role of an apex consumer is plausible. Doctor, yeah, it's plausible, but again, why would you want to do that? Like, why would you want to make an apex I understand, to keep the ecosystem in that park in check, but still, it's just... Ethically, I just think it's a little bit much. Testing log B. Oh boy. Okay, focus of experimentation, creating potential -A apex consumer. Note, permission was granted for experiments with the goal of creating an apex consumer by the site director. Yeah, you should still talk to the ethics committee. The subject selected for this series of experiments, D6018, was chosen for his athleticism and high standards of performance in physical examination. Doctor. So he's now trying to do the test with, like, what if we use somebody who's like a strong human being, a healthy, strong human being. Test A date. The subject D6018. Subject was exposed to the effects of B6. Yeah, okay. F callus. B6 symptoms observed as normal. Food transformation was complete after 2. Yeah. -A6 instance was sent to temporary containment. Yep. Okay. Test B. Date. -A6, formerly D6018. Specimen was exposed to the effects of B13 vulpus. Oh, wolf now. Fox, not wolf. Sorry. Instance developed larger and sharper teeth, as well as various vestigial dental formations. Body hair roughly doubled in length. Instance skin developed several malformed keratin growths of unknown purpose, along with several minor cases of inflammation akin to acute dermatitis. Subject hereby designated -A6/13 underwent minor restorative surgery to clear the skin of epidermal growths and to treat inflammation. -A6/13 was later contained in a temporary containment cell. Note before test B, -A6/13 consistently tried to approach and claim -6 as territory, but its recent cross-exposure seems to have rendered it totally abstinent in this regard. It does, however, continue to attempt to follow regular hunting patterns. Future experimentation will hopefully reveal more about its attitude to the notion of territory and its potential as a method of breach prevention and population control. Doctor. Test Z. Date -A6/13, formerly D6018. Specimen was exposed to the effects of -B16. D blondie. Wait, hold on. The spiders. Ew, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, go on. Specimen was exposed, yeah. Instance began but did not complete the growth of 6 appendages, which sprouted from the 12th vertebrae of the spine, stopped growing it at between 4 and 6 inches. Hair grew minimally but increased in quantity, covering more of the skin surface area, including the aforementioned additional appendages. Instance developed 4 keratin growths in the facial region with placements similar to those of additional eyes on an arachnid. Large, dense keratin growths penetrated skin and grew up to 5 centimeters outwards from the epidermal layer. Specimens also began to demonstrate expunged. As with other -A16 instances, extreme levels of pain were exhibited before subjects spontaneously lost consciousness nearing the end of the second hour, presumably as a reaction to stress and discomfort. Inflammation symptoms returned as before. Subject hereby designated -AX underwent extensive restorative surgery to clear skin of large epidermal growths and facial keratin formations, and to treat. It must not be pretty. That must look absolutely terrifying. And to treat inflammation, subject passed medical examination roughly a day after full transformation and has been observed to function normally. -AX was later contained in a temporary containment cell. Based on previous knowledge of -A6, -A13, and -A16, -AX can now theoretically hunt all known -A instances, placing it at the top of SB2479's food chain. Thorough examination of -AX possible application can now commence, Doctor. But there's more testing logs, man. There's even more focus of experimentation, evaluation, possible Apex consumer application. Test A date. Sorry, yeah. -AX researcher. Specimen was introduced to researcher not during hunting hours. Specimen engaged in one ended conversation. As observed in all other -A instances, -AX encouraged researcher to visit 3 rides. -A6, -6, -13, and -16. Specimen did not respond to questions. Post-preliminary -AX was recontained. Test B. Date. -AX-A4. Specimen was introduced to -A4 not during hunting hours. -AX engaged in one ended conversation as expected. -A4 did not vocalize at all and instead stared at -AX in silence for the entire duration of the 40-minute interaction. Both instances were recontained. Therefore, no -A instance has failed to make conversation with another outside of observed hunting times. It is possible that -A do not recognize -AX as one of them or as a human. Therefore, I have no capacity for interaction. Doctor. Test C date. -AX specimen permitted monitored access into SB2479 active zone not during hunting hours. Specimen was not observed to make any attempt to approach. Oh fuck, man! That was my phone. Let's get the shit out of me. Approach to claim territory. Instead, -AX roam with no apparent direction in areas of low -A concentration. A report from assistant researcher describes -AX movements as aimless, as if mimicking those of a stray animal or lost child. The specimen was observed to be attempting to hide. -AX seemed to favor areas of high density of shrubbery as means of concealing itself, a behavior with no apparent purpose. The specimen was observed to defecate considerably more frequently than other -A instances. The specimen was recaptured and contained after 3 hours of inactivity. Test D date. -AX specimen permitted monitored access into SB2479's active zone during hunting hours. Specimen began to progress towards -1 territory of -A1 C.A. Hercus at a speed of roughly 14 miles per hour. On arrival, specimen did expunged, resulting in the death of all but 3 of the 8 -A1 instances were present. -AX retrieved only 2 carcasses, carried them to where it had been first released 15 minutes prior, and proceeded to both consume and did expunge for roughly an hour. Specimen was recaptured and contained safely after experiment. -1 remains both from -AX and from -1's vicinity were disposed of. The remains, gotcha. Test E date. -AX specimen permitted monitored access into SB2479's active zone during hunting hours at different location. The closest ride to this location. -4 was vacated of all but one -A4, a Platyrincus instance. Specimen began to progress towards -4 and did expunge as before, resulting in the death of the only present -A4 instance. -AX proceeded to consume and did expunge the carcass that it had appropriated. Specimen was recaptured and recontained safely, and after experiment, -4 remains were disposed of. Note, -AX seems to know the location of SCP-2479's rights and selects the closest territory during hunting. If it continues to hunt in this indiscriminate manner, we may be able to selectively release the instance as a recontainment device in the event of future containment breaches. But further experimentation is required to fully understand -AX hunting patterns, Doctor. Yeah, sure, that's how it will definitely work like that. Date, test F, date. Oh, okay, -AX did expunge. The incident log 2. Well, the incident log 2. During experimentation on -AX, all instances of A13 spontaneously instigated a mass-scale hunting event and near-site wide containment breach. Irrespective from any previously observed hunting times. The pack of -A13 instances separated into two groups of 7 and attacked both -7 and -11. MTF Epsilon 11 nine-tailed fox were called immediately, and -AX was left unmonitored for more than half an hour in the ensuing containment breach resolution protocols. Recorded footage from numerous nearby security cameras observed -AX approach -6 before attacking, subduing and incapacitating 3 female instances of -A6, after which did expunge, until -AX was relocated and recontained. The 3 relevant -A3 instances were also recontained and monitored over the course of the 7 following weeks. Post-incident prenatal scans confirmed did expunge. All 3 relevant -A6 instances have been kept in containment for study. Any and all experimentation involving -AX has been countermanded until further notice. Site Director. Oh, now. Now you realize, oh, maybe it was not a good idea to have like the biggest. Now this is exactly what I'm talking about. You get an animal involved in an ecosystem that they don't belong, and at first you're like, oh, they're gonna fix it, they're gonna take care of things, but then either A, they did not take care of the thing, or B, they took care of the thing way too well, but then now they're the new thing you have a problem with. So yeah, that will happen. Now you have potentially multiple -AXs coming in your life, and eventually there will be too many of them, and then you cannot control them anymore. That's how it's going to go. It always does. It's now freshly 2 in the morning. That's why this changed as well. We got it done though. It was a good one to end it on with though. I wonder if this is inspired by the Pinocchio. I keep forgetting how to spell Pinocchio. Yeah, it's Pino and then CCH. Yeah, that's what it is. Pinocchio scene where the kids transformed into donkeys at the amusement park. Except here, they retain humanoid traits and stay at the park to attract to the correspondent attraction. Correspondent territory. There we go. When we are done. We made it.